Someone would sit at the end of the field and they would sing, steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. I ain't got long to stay here. And the verse, my Lord, he calls me by the thunder. So what that meant was the very first night from the singing of this song that you hear thunder, that was the signal that we were going to make our move. In the second verse, green trees are bending, poor sinners stand a-trembling. So that meant you would go down and walk along the river until you saw a green tree that they had tied over, a little tree. They would tie it over, and like this little bush here, and they'd tie it over, and then that would be the place where you would wait. And the Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman or whoever she was working with, they would meet you there and help you steal away. So our music was a profound system of code that we could use right in the environment that we were trying to escape. It's fascinating.
And from that, we're going to try to ease it into film. We'll segue into film. Ramsey, you work in film and you direct Black films. After years of stereotypes that created an image of how African Americans are perceived in the media, do you think Blacks or African Americans will be seen in a different light now that our president is African American?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I think depends on the particular director. I think a lot of the films do depict African American culture. Not to say anything bad against Tyler Perry, but I don't necessarily think that. I think the buffoonery, and things that goes on in his. I think the fact that he has a vehicle to make movies. I think he should take advantage of that and let's have more movies that have substance. Like you can use T.D. Jakes, for example. A lot of his movies that he's trying to do, even though he's a pastor, his movies have a lot of substance to them. And like I said, I really appreciate the opportunity Tyler Perry has been given. But I think he needs to do more in trying to, educate, especially the young people about, what's going on, particularly in our society, not just, having a man portray himself as a woman and acting a fool.
So do you think in terms of Boys in the Hood? That was
Boys in the Hood had a message though.
Yes.
And they had a great message, and I think we've gotten away from that. I think nowadays in society we do what makes people make people laugh, and a lot of times laughter. It is a good thing to do, but it ain't always the best message to have. Exactly, because you end up being laughed. Like you were saying, you're being laughed at.
Yes.
So, but my movie's a little different. So.
Yeah. That's good. I want to open it back up to music though, and what a vehicle it's been through our community. I want to go into hip hop because I think as far as where it's going now, like rapper Young Jeezy, he has a song called My President is Black. And with him making the song, he felt that he was helping the movement. Do you think this is you think it's helping it or you think it's altering it? Because I know that Barack kind of separates himself from that. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, we need to be cognizant that, hip-hop is neither black nor white. Hip-hop is colorless. And hip-hop is a form of musical expression that has cultural outlets as well, and began in a New York borough and became the voice of the voiceless. So, in that regard, hip-hop is speaking to issues that have not been spoken to, have not gotten the attention of mainstream media.
Exactly.
So as a result, some of the music is going to speak to some issues that are cold issues of the inner city. Drugs, gang violence, and sexual conquest.
Yes.
Not to mention misogyny and homophobia, etc. But, to put hip-hop in its proper context, as it's been mentioned, the importance of music as a form of expression and the importance of music as a cultural anchor. Hip-hop has been a cultural anchor, and it's a powerful medium.
Yes, it is.
It can be used in ways that some people deem positive, and it could be used in ways that some people deem negative.
Yeah.
You know, in some respects, hip hop is a lot like beauty.
Yes.
In the eye of the beholder.
Exactly.
Exactly.
If I may, I remember going to one of the first concerts, hip hop rap concerts that ever took place here in LA. And it was, I mean, it was Public Enemy, Houdini, wait a minute, LL Cool J, I mean, all that on the same bill. And they came to the sports arena. And that was one of the first concerts that ever took place showcasing East Coast rap and hip hop here in LA. And, you know, Public Enemy, they had a message, you know, fight the power. You know, they were talking about something heavy. Even though LL Cool J was talking about, you know, let's have an escapade in the backseat of my Jeep and all that. Remember that song? There were some other songs that he had that were about black social conditions, what was going on in the inner city, and what we as a people could do about it. And there have been, as you well know, major changes in hip hop. You know, we got all this gangster rap, which is, you know, really not doing anybody any good. But there are very, very powerful aspects of hip hop culture. You know, some people are writing wonderful songs. None of them really come to mind to me as far as titles are concerned. But there is a movement afoot.
There is a movement.
A movement afoot, and naturally, music is either going to define it, precede it, or clarify it in some way. Those are one of the three things that it happens to do throughout history.
It does. And as far as history goes, we are celebrating Black History Month. And it is a time for us to celebrate Black achievements and homage to those who fought for us today. But why is it just a month? Why can't we look at it 365, 24/7?
Well, I think we always have. I celebrate black culture every day of my life. In my home, we always have. You know, where I'm from New Orleans, and we celebrate culture every single day, whether it's with you know, you respect your mother, or you fix a plate of gumbo, or, you know, you hang with your friends, or, you know, the artwork that we have on the walls, the books on our shelves.
Exactly.
The way we carry ourselves.
I actually asked a few students what Black History Month means to them, so we'll check that out.
To me, it's a celebration, a commemoration of you know, contributions of not only African American people but African people.
Black History Month means a lot to me because it took so long. First it was Black History Week, and now we have a whole month. So for me, I feel really inspired, and it means just so much for me. It just means progression. Like, you know, we try to go harder and harder every time for Black History Month. So
it's a historical thing for me. It's a prideful thing for me. And you know, it's inspirational. It doesn't only represent like Obama, the new presidential thing, but Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, you know, Harriet Tubman, everyone in our history that has brought us to where we are.
So this is the first Black History Month where we actually have a black president, and it's just a huge moment. I personally, in my lifetime, knew it would come, but in your lifetime,
No.
Did you think ever?
Well, and like he was saying, he's from New Orleans, I'm from Alabama. And never in my lifetime or my son's lifetime did I think it would happen. But, you know, it did, and I'm glad I was here to see it. You know, unfortunately, my mother and my grandmother and those people I love so dearly, they were not, but I'm sure they're looking down on us smiling.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought I had an idea that it would happen. I didn't know when or if I would live to see it, but I knew that it would inevitably happen because, you know, there are so many of our people that have had the benefits and the advantages and the opportunities that Barack has had.
Yes.
And you know, I heard a guy tell me recently that Dr. King was St. John the Baptist. He was the Baptist, heralding the coming of this next one. And then Barack comes along as this savior, and there's this danger, you know, as you well know, to deify this guy.
Yes.
Right.